Going back to the basic idea, or kind of a more than basic idea, a really inventive idea actually, to those batteries, those two batteries. So for bigger vehicles, for semi trucks, for trains, for buses, for anything that's big, maybe even helicopters, maybe even, who knows, right? I mean, when they can design those two big batteries where one battery will move the vehicle, and then once it gets to 20% or 30%, it shuts down, the other battery kicks in and starts moving the vehicle and recharging the battery, the first battery. So this technology is such a beneficial if they can come up with it, especially for bigger vehicles. It could benefit any country in this world, especially when there's a high demand for electricity and they're trying to supply it through renewable energy. This will help so much any country in the world, because then those certain vehicles will not need to be recharged through the charging station. So they'll not require, unless one of the batteries breaks, and then they'll need to recharge the battery. So for emergencies, the charging stations will still need to be there, just in case. But for those kind of vehicles, for semi-trucks, if for anything big, there's enough space to put two big batteries that have capacity to move the vehicle and recharge each other. So this is really the basic, at the same time, really inventive technology that can help so many countries if they can just come up with it. Of course, I would like to be compensated for sharing the idea. But at the same time, but it benefits, and at the same time, benefits so many countries tremendously. They can just come up with it and make it happen. Especially if they're trying to use renewable energy to sustain themselves, and all that demand for electricity. There's always demand for electricity. And so if they come up with all these other bigger vehicles that will not require that recharge all the time, they can just make the batteries recharge each other and move the vehicle. It's such a huge benefit from the perspective of the less demand. So then the supply, there'll be more of a supply for all the other demand that's there for the electricity. So it's such a huge benefit to just have renewable energy, and as an example, renewable energy to power everything that you need. When it comes to those bigger vehicles, those other things that require charging, not even worry about it, because you have those two big batteries, or massive batteries, or big, whatever the right word to use. They're big enough to move the vehicle, to move the train, to move the bus, to move, to make the helicopter, fly, as an example, or, just to move the semi-truck and recharge each other. So just be like, keep going and going and going without stopping for any kind of recharge. So just because you think that the battery has to be big enough, you kind of look at it as any big vehicle, there's such a possibility to put them together. And for companies will save money, because they don't have to put fuel into it. They don't have to recharge even. So it's a huge benefit for any company that can come up with it. And of course, other companies would like to buy like semi-trucks. If a company makes those semi-trucks, I mean, everybody would love to get a semi-truck where you don't have to spend money on fuel. So that's savings to the consumer. That's savings to the company. Well, it depends on the company. If it's a trucking company that moves freight, that moves freight or moves anything, it's savings for them, because they don't have to spend money on refueling. And then for drivers, they'll save time. And just overall, so any company will save money. So if there's a company that manufactures or that makes those kind of trains and semi-trucks and buses and helicopters and anything else that they can come up with that's big enough where they can put these two big batteries, they'll have enough energy to make the bus, the semi-truck, the helicopter, and all those things, the train, to move and recharge they recharge each other. They recharge each other. So if you imagine a country that has enough, that can use renewable energy to generate enough electricity, if they just add those kind of vehicles, those kind of things into it, there'll be less demand for those vehicles, And so that creates a nice balance for the rest of the other demand that's always there. So it really creates a really good balance because there's always demand for electricity. And who knows, hopefully, I mean, if they come up with regular cars that way, they'll be bigger size. That's also nice. I mean, they can always probably sell them for more. And I'm sure they're probably going to keep the just one battery vehicles also. And the price might be a little bit cheaper, which is also good. So that right balance, it's, if you think about it, it's like, on the size of the batteries, I don't know if you can fit the two batteries into a standard vehicle size. So, and I don't know if everybody out there would want to get a big vehicle. Some people like different kind of style of vehicles. So I'm sure there's a nice balance to come up with. And the one battery vehicles will always be in harmony with the two battery vehicles. And so there's always, and there's always be a demand for electricity to charge at the charging stations. But if anything, just to start with the big vehicles, because there's enough space to just put those big massive batteries that can power everything and recharge each other. So, but for emergencies, if one battery breaks, I mean, they would have to stop at a charging station and charge the battery that's working. So for emergencies, the charging station will always be needed, even for the two battery vehicles, in that sense of it. But this balance, some countries just trying to supply through renewable energy, just to know that all these bigger vehicles will not need that as much. They'll help to supply enough for the demand, so people will be okay for everything else that they need electricity for. So it's a nice balance for any country. And I was looking at the YouTube video of India having the cheapest vehicle. It's like a small tiny vehicle for one person, and it's like $2,000, a little bit, well, 2009 or something. Let's say $2010. But it's really a small vehicle, and it's like for one or two people maybe. It's really small. But it's such a opportunity for any developing country out there where people can have hard trouble affording a brand new vehicle. I mean, there's such an open market, not only for India, but like for everybody in India if they wanted to get that. But any other developing country out there, it's something like that. And I'm sure, there's some other people that can come up with an idea when it comes to developing countries, and but even just India itself, it's a wonderful thing that they came up with an affordable vehicle, and that not only they can use, but technically, if it's brand new and it's $2010. I mean, a lot of developing countries have an opportunity to get a loan and own one. So it's really nice. It's nice potential, nice open market for any other country that's developing. I mean, it's just, and in some countries, the majority of the vehicles are not that big size anyways. They're always used to a smaller size vehicle that's a 4-seater. So these 2-seater or 1-seater, I'm not even sure. I think maybe two people can fit into that one, or I forget. But it's a really small one. I'm sure there'll be kind of a nice balance on the roads. And those countries where they have the smaller size vehicles. I mean, some countries where every vehicle is really big, you kind of have a small, tiny vehicle that's a 1-seater or maybe two barely. It's one of those things. Is it safe? I don't know. It depends, I guess. And you wonder how safe it is too. I mean, that's another thing. But for developing countries, though, as a brand new vehicle, it's such a wonderful opportunity. I think it's a blessing. It's a blessing, for more people to afford a brand new vehicle in those countries, or to get a loan and to get it eventually. That's always a good thing. And it's all electric. But I think for our country, for America and maybe the Western countries, the Pony Tune, the $5,000 Pony Tune is real nice because it's a 4-seater. It's a standard size vehicle. It's all electric. The benefits, it's like you're driving with everybody else, on the road. You're not in some little tiny vehicle where it's like, and everybody else are in big vehicles passing by or driving next to you. You kind of feel a little out of place sometimes if you're in a tiny vehicle. But in some countries where every vehicle is small, like a hatchback, there's a lot of hatchbacks in some countries, that vehicle fits just perfectly, right? So, and in other countries where developing countries, that's also kind of, as an example, But yeah, in some countries, in the Western countries in America, there's all kinds of big size vehicles everywhere. So when you're driving a little tiny vehicle where you just, one seater, I don't know how safe you feel, just being in traffic. It's one of those things. And I'm not even sure how safe. Hopefully it's safe enough, and because of the criteria. But the Ponytune is a standard size 4-seater, just like a hatchback vehicle, basically. So Ponytune is really a good vehicle to make available in America and make available in every Western country for $5,000. It's good average size. It's a really good opportunity. It's all electric. So, but I think that the one that India has is perfect for India and developing countries. And any other country where there's a lot of small vehicles. When it comes to just like more people getting it, it's one of those things. If you can afford to get a little bit bigger vehicle, I think Ponytune is really the best one. You can't beat it. The hope is that it's safe enough when it comes to the criteria requirements. It's supposed to be safe. I mean, because they're selling it and it's supposed to be safe. I mean, but I don't know the details on all the requirements that they have. Hopefully it's safe for every country. So that's another thing. But it's a wonderful opportunity there with Ponytune. Getting a little pony. It's a good deal. They can just make it available for $5,000, brand new, and with a nice warranty. And hopefully it's dependable. It's not going to break down for quite some time, for a long time. That's a huge benefit. But going back to the technology, once again, these two big, massive batteries powering the vehicle and recharging each other is a huge benefit for every country that's trying to supply the electricity demand for the country. So it's such a huge opportunity. If they can come up with it and have it, it benefits them so much. So they'll have enough for everything else that they need electricity for, and not have to worry about those other bigger vehicles, because they'll just power each other through the batteries. The batteries powering each other and moving the vehicle. It's a great opportunity. Hoping that those that come up with it, make it actually happen, will compensate me for the idea, sharing the idea. Glory be to God. Hallelujah, hallelujah. And this is Markov saying, God bless everyone.